Good morning and welcome to another inspiring episode of the Good Morning Minute podcast, where we start the day with purpose, passion, and a little bit of power. I'm your host, Angelina Mojica, and today's conversation is part of our special series in partnership with Empower Her Steps virtual conference, a movement rooted in helping women rise, heal, and walk boldly in the life God has designed for them. Our mission is simple but powerful, empowering life purpose. Because we believe that when women find clarity in their calling, everything changes for their family, for their community, and for the generations to come. So, friends, grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and get ready to be uplifted as we dive deep into real stories, honest lessons, and bold steps towards purpose with today's incredible guest, and that is Lauren. Lauren, welcome to the Good Morning Minute podcast.
Thank you so much. And I'm so glad to be here.
Yes, and we're glad to have you. Lauren, go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners.
Sure. Like you said, my name is Lauren. I go by Lauren Denise. And you can find me on social media under Lauren Denise today. I am a mom of one of a uh, very spontaneous and rambunctious toddler. She's 2 years old, and she's the love of my life.
Wow, toddlers are so cute. I'm a grandmother of two toddlers, and I love how little they are and how
Yes.
they are so um, present in life because they want to learn and they're just so attuned to everything going around them. I love it. I love it. So that's
Yes.
awesome. Well, let's start my questions with a little fun icebreaker. What's one small thing that makes you smile?
One small thing that makes me smile these days, I would say, is my daughter. She is a miracle. She was born at 25 weeks.
Wow.
We've had a very long road, but God really worked a miracle in both of our lives. So she definitely makes me smile every single day.
Wow, what a blessing.
Yes.
Well, let's jump into it. Let's talk a little bit about that defining moment of pain or challenge in your life and how did it impact you?
Yeah. I was pregnant, had a very uneventful pregnancy in the beginning.
Mhm.
And then my water broke at 23 weeks, unexpectedly. And I was rushed to the hospital. And they pretty much told me, like, hey, you're young, if you want to try again, you can try again, or we can try to save your baby. Um, and so I told them, like, please do everything you can to try to save
Yeah.
her if you can. So they said, okay. They said, we'll try to give you some medication to stop labor. If that doesn't work,
Mhm.
then we'll try to have to deliver her. But they gave me the medication and it did stop it. And then they told me that I would need to be on bed rest in the hospital for 10 weeks.
Mm.
So that moment was very pivotal for me in my life because I knew it was going to be a whirlwind from there. And I had no other choice but to trust God. Um, and it was very scary, very scary.
Mm.
I'm the type of person that likes to know what's happening. And the fact that I didn't know what the next step would be was terrifying. So I had to really lean in and trust God on that for sure.
Wow. I can just imagine. So my oldest grandbaby is my grandson, and he was born premature 2 months, and my daughter, um, she went in just for her routine, checkup, and it was getting closer to her due date anyways, but she went in and she had preeclampsia. And so she had all this swelling and stuff going on that when she was in her checkup, the doctor's like, you're going to the emergency room. And so from that, it was like, hurry up and get here, emergency
Yeah.
C-section's about to happen. And um, I just remember what he looked like coming out of the delivery room, and he just have you seen that movie Benjamin Button?
Yes.
So that's what we would call him, like, oh, look at little Benjamin Button, because he was so tiny and he
Yeah.
just looked like a little old man. And I just
Yeah.
remember holding him and just speaking life over him and going, you're going to
Hmm.
get through this. It's going to be okay. And I mean, I think we all put together, we were her big community and support during that time, but I can imagine how scary it is. When
Yeah.
did
It was
when
very
did you
scary.
discover during this time that there was a sense of purpose on the other side of this situation for you?
Um, when I found when I found that I had no other choice but to trust God,
Mm,
and knowing that what I was up against,
mm-hmm,
um, I knew that I had to have some type of divine intervention. Um,
mm-hmm,
and because the doctors did not give me any good outlook on any end, and
wow.
they told me if she does make it, she's pretty much will most likely be wheelchair bound. She probably won't be able to walk, talk. She may be blind. She may be deaf. All these things.
Yeah.
Um, and I said, okay, I'll prepare myself for that. And I did, and I prepared my family. And here we are, almost 3 years later. She's 2.5, and she doesn't have all of the issues that they said that she would have. She has
Uh-huh.
some minor things that we're working through. Um, but she can walk, she can talk, she can see, she can hear, so
Yeah.
it really, that was a time in my life where I had to really, my faith was tested. And I
Mm,
knew that on the other end of that there was going to be a testimony. And for
mm-hmm,
me, um, I knew that other people should be able to hear my story so that they can find
mm-hmm.
some hope in their own life as well.
Wow. And what a blessing. Isn't God great when
Yeah,
just told your daughter, everybody's saying this is going to happen and you're like, you know what, it doesn't matter, it's not even their call. It really
yeah,
isn't. And then here your daughter is 2 years, 2 years later with,
yeah.
walking and talking and doing all the things that they didn't think that she would be able to. I think what a miracle that is, and so inspiring too. um, what helped you during this time to heal and kind of get in the mindset of, we're going to be okay through this season? What was it that was helpful to you?
Definitely my village. My village
Yeah.
was very important for me during that time. Um, Knowing that I was not alone.
Hmm.
People just stepping in whenever, unprompted. I didn't have to ask for help. Knowing that I had someone to talk to. Um, you know, God sent so many people. I still get calls today of people saying like, "Oh, I never met you, but such and such had put your daughter on the prayer call, so I just
Wow.
wanted to let you know that we've been praying for her." And I'm like, "Oh my God!" Like that blows my mind, because I'm
Mm,
like, "Wow, there are people that I will probably never meet, that had a role in my daughter's life." So
mm.
yeah, yeah,
Wow. And community is such a big thing because like you're not the only one that's come on the podcast and said community, community. Like I think that is a trend. And when we are hurt or feel like we're not worthy, we tend to not reach out or not want to expose our vulnerabilities to others because we want everybody to think, no, we're okay. I've got it together. Don't worry about
hmm,
me. But it's so vital to have someone or some people, friends, whatever in your circle, whether those are resources or true like family members, friendships, whatever, but someone that's going to understand, maybe someone that's been there in the same boat, or uh, just someone that is just going to speak positive,
right,
interest into your life and can help guide you. And oh man, prayer uplift you. You talked about,
yeah,
being put on your daughter being put on a prayer list and stuff like that. Like all of that is so helpful and we
it
need
is
it so much. And it's okay. So like anybody out there listening, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's through those times where we allow our walls to come down and express the need for help and support that it happens, and then you can see, that you're not alone in your journey. You don't have to be. I know, like, we
right.
we choose to be, but you don't have to. So hear me say that. Um so how has this experience shaped who you are today?
It is definitely I feel like I've evolved into another form of myself that I didn't even know existed.
Hmm.
I've weathered through other types of storms before. Everyone goes through things
Yeah.
in different seasons of your life, but I feel like this really helped to shape who I am as a woman and as a mother, and as a believer too. I've always had faith in God. I always talk about having the gift of faith, but I really truly believe wholeheartedly now that I have the gift of faith because I had no other choice but to trust God. Like I literally had no other choice.
Mm,
And I'm so glad that I had the people surrounding me to
mhm.
uplift me in during that time because it was a very trying time.
Yeah.
Um, and just being able to go through it with people that were there to support me it made all the difference. It did.
Wow. Was there like any kind of scripture or any kind of anything like a biblical, quote or something that really resonated with you during that time that you kind of just meditated on?
Yeah, there were definitely a lot of different scriptures. One of my daughter's godparents would send me scriptures weekly.
Uh,
Um, but one of them that I still hold on to is that, you know, I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb.
yes.
That for me was very pivotal. Especially when I was going through labor, then being
Yeah.
hospitalized, and then they stopped the labor, and then like, oh, you'll stay on bed rest for 10 weeks, and then after 2 weeks, they're like, oh, you're going to labor again, and it's like God, like I
Wow.
know that you're not going to leave us now, because
Hmm.
you knew her before she was even here, earthside, So I really held on to that, to know that he would see us all the way through. And he did. He did.
Mm. And it's funny because even when I asked that because when I was hitting my rock bottom during my life of during the time of pivot, um,
Yeah.
and it's my life verse that was spoken onto me is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know, the plans I have for you, and it's
Yes.
not for harm, but for, to prosper you and give you hope in a future. So that is really my movement in life. And I'm like trying so hard. I was like trying so hard. Okay, God, during even the time of trying to get back up on my feet. Okay, God, you got a plan. You got a plan. And I hope you see the plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can just imagine. Man, I can imagine. So what advice would you give someone currently in maybe that state of mind where they feel like, oh my gosh, this is hard. I don't know if I'm gonna get out, I'm not gonna see, am I gonna see the light at the end of the tunnel? What kind of advice would you give that person?
I would definitely say number one, you're not alone. Number
Hmm.
two, there are people, God will put people in your life, even if you don't think that they're there. And to be able to open up to whoever it is. It may be someone that you least expect it to be. It may
Hmm.
be something you come across on social media, that can uplift your spirit at the time. But if you're in a space or moment in your life where you're facing trial after trial, just know that God is
Yeah.
with you. God has never left you, and He's going to be there to see you through the end of whatever that may be for your life. And
Hmm.
He wants the best for you always, always. Even when it doesn't seem like, oh my God, this is going to end the way I want it to end, it will. It
Hmm.
will.
Wow. Well, Lauren, what does living on purpose look like for you now?
Yeah. So living on purpose means living out loud, number one,
Uh-huh.
living boldly, not dimming my light. Um, you know, um, I had my daughter out of wedlock. Okay. I'm brought up in a Christian home. I was engaged to be married to her father. And I felt like for for a moment I felt like, well, maybe I shouldn't tell my story, because I wasn't worthy enough. But I'm like, God stopped me. He's like, no, there are people that need to hear what I've done in your life and in
Hmm.
your daughter's life, no matter what the circumstance may be. And it just reignited a fire within for me and my
Yeah.
faith, and I make sure to live every single day on purpose and with purpose. So, and to make sure that I proclaim the name of Jesus Christ always. And I'm not going to allow anyone or anything to dim who I am.
I love that. And thank you so much for being vulnerable enough to say, this is my story because it's the truth that sets us free,
Yeah,
right? Um, and it's so empowering when we're able to just be in our truth and say, you know what, this is what it is. But from it, these are the lessons that I've learned. Um, and no judgment here at all because I mean, I'm that person that's like, let me remove the log from my eye before I remove your speck because I've raised my children to be that way too because we walk in a world that is ready to judge, judge, judge. But what
Yeah,
I've learned is a lot of what we're judging are things that we have yet to reconcile within ourselves.
right.
So think about that, listeners, because
Yeah,
that is truth. A lot of what gets on our nerves, a lot of what we talk about, a lot of the gossip we say, we ourselves have struggled with some aspect of that. And, we're just projecting onto others. And I try very hard. Again, I am not a perfect person, nor do I expect anybody else to be. Um, but I try very hard not to. And when I catch myself, I always check myself and I'm like, okay, God, help me here. I just recognize,
yeah.
there's still some growing and development that needs to happen for sure. So thank you for being vulnerable to share that. So Lauren, as we kind of start wrapping up our conversation, I want to ask you a question of legacy and impact, because I know that there's a lot that you're growing. But if today were your last day, what would you want to be remembered for?
I would want to be remembered for the life that I live.
Mm,
Um, to know that I lived every day like it was my last. To make sure that people know and understand that I love not just the people I'm connected to, but I love all of God's children. It's one of my big missions in life, if I ever can finish it, is to become a doctor. Um, and I was
yes.
in medical school when I was pregnant with my daughter, and
Uh-huh.
because I was high risk, I had to come out.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to go into the world, not just the U.S., and
Mm,
to really be able to impact smaller communities and underserved communities that really need the help. That is one of
mm,
my life goals, because I believe we are the hands and feet of Jesus. So that is one of the things
mm.
I would really, really like to do before I close my eyes and meet him.
Well, I love that. And I do. I pray that it all works out and that opportunities just align because I know that stepping into your purpose and calling, and if it's God ordained, it's definitely going to happen for you.
Yeah.
So, as my final question to you as we get ready to close is if you could leave maybe just one bit of truth or encouragement to someone out there today that maybe is still trying to figure out what their life purpose is, what would it be?
Don't give up hope,
Mm,
and you have to go with how life is going. Life isn't just one straight line. There are
mhm,
many pivots that we take in this life. And if you don't know what your purpose is, you should really sit and reflect with yourself and ask God, what is the reason why you have me here? And he
mhm,
will answer, trust me. He will. I tell people this in my circle all the time. If you ask God something, he will answer. It may not be the answer you're looking for, but he will definitely answer.
mm. Wonderful. And good wisdom and just a piece of advice because it's true. I think we had a person that I interviewed prior to yours, and they were talking about just being in the peace of it all. And when they said that, I was like, oh, peace, be still. When the Lord was talking to the storm, and I was like, it's so true though, because when you can calm the storm within yourself, that's anxiety, fear, all of
Yeah.
that stuff, you can hear with clarity and you
Hmm.
have direction and it's such a man, walking in peace is so freeing,
It is.
so freeing.
It
And
is.
it really is. Well, Lauren, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for sharing your heart, your story, and your light with us today. It's conversations like this that remind us that purpose isn't about perfection, it's about showing up and growing through the things that we go through and trusting that every step matters. Here at the Good Morning Minute and through the Empower Her Steps movement, we believe every woman has a calling to discover and a voice worth using. So whether you're here today, friends, just listening in, I want you to remember your purpose is powerful and you're not walking alone. Until next time, dear friends, keep rising, keep trusting, and keep walking boldly in the life God has designed for you. Until then, I'm Angelina Mojica, your life coach, sending you much love, much peace, and many, many blessings.